All right, so in today's video, I'm gonna talk a little bit about upgrading a existing Revit plugin to version 2021 of Revit. This plugin is called Onbox App and is being in store for the last 1.5 years, 2 years, and so. It was created originally for Revit 2014 or something. It's a plugin that the first plugin that I created back then, and it's got some interesting features like having the ability to create these kind of slope here surface for topographic surfaces. It has the ability to join walls together like this. It's got some features for creating topographic surfaces from point clouds as well. So there's a ton of different small features that they can go together pretty well. And it's being used for, I believe it has 7,000 downloads or something like that on the App Store in Autodesk. So if you want to know a little bit more about the application itself, just Google Onbox App Autodesk Store or something like that. And the first link that pops up is the actual link for the App Store, and it's open source, so you can just download the source code right here, and there's the official documentation too in the Git pages here. Let me just, yep, that's the one. So Git book. So if you click on that link on the App Store, you can find the official documentation with tons of information about each individual feature that we provide in here. So for instance, if you want to know a little bit more about the columns from CAD drawings, you just click on that link, and it will show you how to use the feature and how to get your CAD data to 3D data using the plugin, the application there. All right. So without further ado, let's go to the actual code. There's this link right here, which is the Onbox app. So just gonna go to this link, and there's the source code there, and you just need to copy the Git path there, and just on your Git client, just go Git in this case is clone, and then the actual repository. So just gonna hit that button, and it's gonna clone that locally. And this is a Revit 2019-2020 implementation, so I'm just gonna upgrade that to Revit 2021 now. Okay, so looks like it's already cloned. So let me see if I can unbox, not that one, box app. Yep, that's the one. Just gonna have a look in there. Yep, that's the one that I wanted. Just gonna open that up in Visual Studio. And Visual Studio popped up on the other screen here, so I'm just gonna pull that over. The first thing that I need to check is if the Revit API, API UI, and IFC it's linked. So it looks like it picked up well. So yep, so it's saying it's linking to Revit 18. But if I use this drop down button here, I can see that there's versions for 19 and 2020. So I'm actually going ahead and using the 2020 as a starting point. Let me see if that thing compiles. So I'm just gonna rebuild that, and it looks like all good. And actually copies the resource files to the actual folder that I need to actually run this application. But instead of just duplicating this thing and going ahead, I will actually unload this project, and I'll just do some cleanup on the actual Visual Studio project itself. I just want to make sure that this thing is organized before I'll go even, further with this. So this is the first thing that I wanted to just check in. you see here that I have the links for the DLLs, but they are pointing. First thing they're trying to point at is a relative directory. I actually want this to be absolute because this is just the default folder of Revit, the installation of Revit. And the other thing is I want to group all of this so I avoid trying to just use this hint path or configuration each and every time. So what I'll actually go ahead and do here is to use as an item group and just group all these items together instead of all this whole bunch of mess in here. So the first thing that I'll do is to create a new item group here, and I'll just reference this right there, and this will be a reference to the APIs and everything else. I don't think we need Revit 2018 at this point in time anymore. At this point is just obsolete from my point of view. So obsolete in that case, right? So what I'll actually do here, I'll start by Revit 19 and just move forward on that. So 19, 2020, and 2021. So I'll just say include include Revit API in this case, and then condition will be the same as this one here. Right there. Okay, so I have a reference in there, so I'm just gonna provide the path in there, but instead of using the reference here, the condition here, I'll just move the condition up in there to this actual node, the parent node, and this one will actually be C / program files. So this is the default installation for Revit. Right. So now that I have that, I can actually duplicate this, and I'll use Revit API UI in this case as well. And I'm just gonna say UI here as well. So just the only thing that I'm doing here is cleaning up all these paths, so we have a clear item group for each and every one of these. So I can after I can delete all these things in there. The other thing that I would just check is this IFC as well. It's just API IFC. So that's all we need to do. So what I'll actually do is to come to here, and I'll just actually delete all this at once, just like that. And I'll just continue on this, and I'll say this will be Revit API IFC, just like you had in there. So API IFC, so same thing in there. I'm just gonna double check this thing there if it is actually a valid path. I believe it is. I'm just gonna go to that, and yeah, that worked. So if I do this, you can see that it's exactly the path that I need, right? So going further on that, I'll just need to copy this for different configurations. Come on, I don't want to use this. Right. So again, just getting this item group here, and I'll just duplicate this, copy and paste, and this will be release 19. And this is basically the same thing, basically the same approach. And same thing for, debug 19, or sorry, debug 2020. And this is gonna only change this, and this. So I'm just gonna do a release for 2020 as well, same type of deal. And then finally debug 2021, and release 2021. Yep, should be good to go now. So even though there's a ton of different path configurations here, still you have the item groups to better describe what's inside of what item. So I can actually reload this thing. Let's see if I did anything wrong. Looks like I didn't. And even though I changed the, things in there, you can see that still here we don't have debug 2021 or release 2021. That's because this is actually the solution itself. So I only changed the project, right? So what I need to actually do here is go to the configuration manager, and I need to spin up, debug 2021 here too. So I'm just gonna copy the information from this, the 2021, and I don't need to create new project configurations because I've already done that in the configurations that I've done on here. So I just need to make sure that I'm just copying from it and don't clicking that option there, don't checking that box. So just gonna click OK. And here you can see that now I should be able to find debug 2021 here as well. And looks like I did not. All right, so let me see here. New. Let's copy this from, which is weird. Should have found 2021 there. Because this is the Revit. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. I only have done the conditions. Yeah, but I can actually duplicate this one. It's safe. So I'll just go 2021 here and just copy the information from Revit debug 2020. Yeah, that's all right. So I'm just gonna hit OK there, and I'll just do the same thing for Revit 20. For release 2020. So I'll just go new release 2021, and I'll just copy the information from release 2020, and that's OK, and OK right there as well. So if I go to this configuration there, I should now be able to compile against Revit 2021. So I'm just gonna go properties here just to double check, and looks like the path is correct. So the configuration that I've applied is correct. It's picking up the right target DLLs in there. So it's compiling. Let's see if that thing compiles all right. And it's failing. All right, let's see. Okay. Right. Oh, okay. I know what is happening here. So these problems here is just Visual Studio not, picking up the right target platforms, and that's because we actually need to configure the framework target to be .NET 4.0 or 4.8 as well, because Revit 2021 is using 4.8. So what I'll actually do here, let me just close off these things and just unload this guy again and edit this. And I'll actually go ahead here and also instead of just using the item groups here to target the right DLLs, I also need to create a new property group here to target the framework platform as well. So this guy here, right? It should target the framework version of .NET as well. So I'll just copy that thing here, and I'll just go ahead and do v4.0 there, or 4.8 there, sorry. And the same deal for the release version as well. So just gonna copy this guy and just change it to 4.8 as well. So now it should be good to go. Let's give it a shot. So let me rebuild this. And yeah, it looks like it's succeeded. This configuration here is just the actual post build event. So if I go to properties here, what I'm actually doing is on build events, I'm just copying some of these guys to some of the resource files to the actual folders inside of Revit. So we have, if you build this, Onbox will be already available in Revit if you launch Revit. But what I actually need to do here is to copy this to make sure that we also have a configuration for the release for the release and debug for 2021 as well. So just need to copy this group here, and all this is doing is just command line for copying files to different folder paths. So let me just change that to 2021 too, and yeah, that should work for copying the files. But again, the build itself worked, right? It's just the copying of the files that was not working. It was not, we didn't have the configuration for it to copy files around. So just changing that real quick. I'm just gonna double check this if I made any typo or anything, but it looks like it's all good. So I'm just gonna hit OK there. Okay there, and I'll save that and just rebuild this thing again. Let's see what happens. And it's failing. All right, okay. Looks like I've made some type of typo there or something like that. Let's see what we have in there. Oh, yeah, sure. Forgot to change that. Was that all? Copying. I always overlook something all the time. So let's try that again. Yep, that was the only typo that I made. So now we are copying files from the build path to actual Revit path. So this thing should be good to go in Revit right now. So if I launch Revit 2021 here, it should pop up the information that we're installing a new plugin or something like that, and if you want to go ahead and make that available or not. Yep. So that's the other one. So let me just yeah, I'll just let it load this one. And this is the actual application that we're trying to load. So Onbox application, and I'll just go allow. Okay, there's some other in there as well. Let's see what we got. All right, cool. So let's just, yeah, let me just create a project from scratch in there. And if I click on that button, then you have Onbox in there. So all the tools are there. Looks like we didn't get any warnings or anything in terms of deprecated APIs for 2021 or anything like that. So yeah, looks like we are good to go. That's the process of upgrading a Revit plugin for 2021.